So this is Steve, and we're here today with Judge Stanley Levine. He is in the Allen Civil Division court judge race. Stanley, we appreciate your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, Steve. I am the judge of the Allen Superior Court Civil Division. It's a position that I have held since January of 1999. I was reelected twice, once in 2002 and once in 2008. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I have lived in Fort Wayne since I was 9 years old. Fort Wayne has changed a lot since then. I lived on East Fleming, which is 2 blocks from Pettit. Pettit was the south boundary of the city of Fort Wayne then. So that tells you a lot about the growth of the south side of Fort Wayne. I went to Harrison Hill. I went to Southside High School. I graduated in 1956. Went to Indiana University in Bloomington. Graduated in 1960. And then went to law school at what is now the Maurer School of Law. It was the Indiana University School of Law. Graduated in 1963, was admitted to the bar that year and practiced law here in Fort Wayne for 35 years. When I got out of law school, I was fortunate enough to find a spot in the Indiana Air National Guard, what we called Bear Field then. And the reason I got in was I was fortuitously ran into Ivan Lebmoff, who was getting out. And so I spent, it was a 6-year enlistment, I think I spent 8 years. Had an interesting military career. I was started out as an airman. I was probably one of the oldest people in basic training at Lackland Air Force Base. And I was an honor graduate, which is a dubious distinction from clerk typist school. And I got to be the administrative assistant to General William Sefton, who was the wing commander, which was very interesting. Didn't have a lot of typing, but I had a lot of interesting things to do. You could get a lot done in the Air Guard if you said the general wants, and they did it. I then got commissioned as a second lieutenant, so I became from the oldest basic training to the oldest second lieutenant. I was the information officer, put out a base newspaper. That was my military journalism career. And I had the good fortune of getting recommissioned then as a captain in the legal office, where I had served as an administrative assistant, a clerk in the legal office. I have children and stepchildren from 2 prior marriages, 4 grandchildren. The newest one was just born in August. And I've lived here all my life and practiced law here all my life, since 1963. I had the good fortune in the 80s and part of the 90s of being the attorney or legal counsel to the City Council of Fort Wayne. It was an interesting job because you learn how laws are passed, and although I was the attorney for the entire council, also when a member of council wants to draft an ordinance, you kind of create a Chinese wall and nobody else knows about it, can't talk to the other members of council. So I had the opportunity not only to interact with councilmen, but to interact with my clients, with the mayor's office. I think we had a couple of different mayors while I was city council attorney. And that was a very interesting experience. I would like to tell you, if I can, since you asked how I became a judge, it's an interesting process. A lot of people don't know this. The Allen Superior Court was established in 1975, and it was established because the system that we had, the political system of selecting judges, was producing not a real good, I'll be I won't be very tactful, I'll be honest and blunt, a lot of mediocre to poor judges. And it was because that they were unsuccessful attorneys in the most part, I have to say that. And they were, because we are in Allen County, primarily Republicans. That's not shaking a fist at the Republicans, it's the truth. So they started the Allen Superior Court in about 1970. And the way the statute was initially established, it would be a referendum vote. In other words, if we still had that system, it would, instead of what I'm in, the race I'm in now, it would be, should Judge Stanley Levine be retained? Well, there was a legislator who got crosswise with a judge and tried to bring it back into politics. And the result is that we have a nonpartisan race that I'm in. So because I'm in a nonpartisan race, I have backers who are both Democrats and Republicans. Should be no surprise to anybody that's how the system works. But I said I wanted to tell you how I became a judge. The statute provided a system of selecting judges in this fashion if there's a vacancy. They convene a local Allen County Judicial Nominating Commission. I'm not exactly sure. I think how it's. I think the governor appoints the citizen members, and the lawyers or somebody elects the lawyers. So there's 3 lawyers, 3 citizens, and at that point it was Justice Dixon who recently stepped down as Chief Justice, and there were, I think, 15 candidates, applicants, and I was selected as one of the 3 finalists, and then selected by the governor and fulfilled the term of the retired judge, and then ran at the end of his term, 2002 and 2008, unopposed. Why this is significant is I feel like I had to pass a test, so to speak, before I even could be appointed. And it's significant to me that we had a vacancy in our court in the civil division because Judge Heath transferred to the family division, and in the spring of 2013, last year, there was a vacancy, and I wanted to point out that neither of my opponents who say they want to be judge applied to go through that system. So I think, besides the fact that I am the incumbent, this distinguishes me from them. They didn't choose that path, and I'm proud of the fact that I'm obviously delighted that I was selected by the governor at that time, but I'm proud of the fact that I was vetted and they were not, and they didn't choose that path. Why? You'll have to ask them. Thank you.